Hello and welcome. I am Adi Tukumbo Akintayo. What a Vox News. A UN peacekeeper from Tanzania was killed and 3 others were wounded on Wednesday in an operation with the Congolese army to drive back M23 rebels from the city of Goma in eastern Congo. Wednesday's fighting focused on the high ground around the village of Kibati, 11 kilometers north of Goma. A UN official in Goma said Indian peacekeepers and members of the Intervention Brigade, composed of Tanzanian, South African and Malawian troops, had taken part in the fighting. 2 of the wounded soldiers are South Africans. A 14-year-old boy was reportedly killed and other residents injured in the fighting. A Congolese officer at the front line said government troops had by early evening seized strategic hills in Kibati and were fending off attempts to retake them. We're still in the Congo region. Rwanda has blocked a joint US-French proposal to impose UN sanctions on 2 senior commanders in the M23 rebel group in eastern Congo, arguing that the evidence against the men was weak. The United States and France asked for sanctions against M23's Colonel Vianney Kazarama, military spokesman for the rebel group, and Eric Mboneza, an M23 commander. Among other things, the document cited a July Human Rights Watch report that accused Mboneza of ordering the summary execution of a 24-year-old man he said was a thief. Rwanda's Deputy UN Ambassador Olivier Oduhungirehe said Kigali blocked the proposed blacklisting because it would have undermined regional efforts to bring peace to eastern Congo. Let's take you to West Africa. 24 people were killed in Mali's riverside capital, Bamako, on Wednesday when torrential rains provoked flash floods that washed away homes in several neighborhoods. Mali's Minister of Internal Security and Civilian Protection, Théophile Konaté, confirmed the tragedy in a statement distributed to local media. Bankoni, Taliko, Lafia Bogo, Jikoroni, Uyuwayanko, Lafia Boguba, and Bogudani neighborhoods were all hit by floods during rainstorms that lasted most of the day. 19 people died in Taliko alone. Parts of Bamako, a city of around 2 million people on the River Niger, flood regularly during the June to October rainy season. Some of the worst damage during Wednesday's flooding occurred in areas where houses had been built on land reserved for drainage. Still talking about tragedies, at least 41 people have been killed in a bus crash near the Kenyan town of Narok, west of the capital, Nairobi. The bus traveling from Nairobi to Homa Bay on Lake Victoria reportedly plunged into a valley and rolled over several times, ripping off its roof. A similar number of people were killed when another bus overturned in February. The latest crash reportedly happened at about 2 a.m. local time. Police traffic officer Samuel Kimaru said 4 of the dead were children. Kimaru said his colleagues were having a difficult time recovering the bodies because the accident scene is hilly and bushy. We'll take you to North Africa. Egypt's economy is facing public debt exceeding $200 billion. The figure represents a budget deficit at 14% of GDP. This is also coupled with a rising number of unemployed people. However, the government says it has a plan.
We are trying to activate the economy. We are trying to impose financial discipline. And finally, we want to do both of them in a way that achieves social justice to the extent possible. How can you be expansionary? At the same time, you don't want to have a budget deficit that's growing so fast and hugely, by bringing in funds from outside the country, by seeking support, by counting on the friends who can provide us with some injections of funds from outside, because by doing that, you are not raising taxes and pushing the economy into contraction. We believe that activating the economy should be through increasing the demand side, the expenditure side if you like, but investment, not necessarily consumption.
We'll talk about Syria now. President François Hollande has welcomed the head of Syrian National Coalition, SNC, to the LEC Palace for talks as the international community weighs up intervention in the increasingly bloody conflict. An apparent chemical gas attack which killed hundreds in the suburbs of Damascus last week has prompted international outrage, and the United States and its allies have held President Bashar al-Assad's government responsible for the incident. SNC President Ahmad Jabbar told French newspaper Le Parisien in an interview published today that Western powers should launch a punitive strike against Assad's forces quickly and offer real military and political support to stop people being exterminated. A team of United Nations experts left the Damascus hotel this morning for a third day of on-site investigations into apparent chemical weapons attacks. Head of the UN Chemical Mission, Ake Selstrom, and UN Representative of Disarmament Affairs, Angela Kane, waved off the 6-car convoy as they left the hotel. The UN team did not announce where it was traveling, but activists and doctors in rebel-held areas said a convoy was scheduled to visit the scene of strikes in the eastern Ghouta suburbs. The inspection team will conclude their investigations on Friday and leave on Saturday. The UN Secretary General Ban Ki-moon says he has spoken to U.S. President Barack Obama about the situation in Syria, just as his inspection team continues its investigations.
They will continue investigation activities until tomorrow, Friday, and will come out of Syria by Saturday morning and will report to me as soon as they come out of Syria. And that is why I have cut short my visit to Austria. It's true that I have spoken with the President Obama yesterday. We discussed how UN and the world can work together, particularly with the United States, how we can expedite the process of investigation. And I have also expressed my sincere wish that this investigation team should be allowed to continue their work as mandated by the member states. Yesterday, when I was addressing the Peace Palace, I appealed that diplomacy should be given a chance and peace given a chance. It's important that all the differences of opinions should be resolved by peaceful means through dialogue. And I'm going to continue to work on these principles.
We're still on Syria. The United States Defense Secretary says the assessment on the situation in Syria is ongoing, and that a strike on Damascus would have to be an international collaboration, just as Russia continues to urge all parties to resolve the problem in accordance to international law.
The United States is consulting with all of our allies, international community, regarding Syria, and we continue to consult with our allies. And as I think has been made very clear by President Obama, and I have said it on a number of occasions, if any action would be taken against Syria, it would be an international collaboration.
Russia is consulting with all parties concerned about the situation in Syria, and I hope that the results of this consultation will be constructive, and I hope that we can find a solution which would meet the interest of all parties concerned. I am sure that we have to go along with the international law.
President Barack Obama has said America is struggling to fully realize the vision that civil rights leader Martin Luther King described in his famous I Have a Dream speech 50 years ago, as the goal of economic security for all remains elusive. Obama, the first black U.S. president, spoke to thousands of marchers on Washington's National Mall on Wednesday to commemorate King's landmark address, which came to symbolize the struggle for equality among blacks and whites in America. Marchers, many wearing T-shirts with King's face on them, began their walk near the U.S. Capitol. And Obama said King's speech inspired millions of Americans to fight for a more just society and rights that people now take for granted.
To dismiss the magnitude of this progress to suggest, as some sometimes do, that little has changed. That dishonors the courage and the sacrifice of those who paid the price to march in those years.
Today, we're going to let freedom ring all across this nation. We're going to let freedom ring everywhere we go. If freedom is going to ring in Libya, in Syria, in Egypt, in Florida, then we must reach across the table, feed each other, and let freedom ring.
We're still in America, but we'll be talking tennis. Defending US Open champion Andy Murray of Great Britain comfortably came through the first round with a 6-2, 6-4, 6-3 win over Michael Laudra of France on the weather-hit third day of tennis championship. After over 4 hours of play were lost during the day to rain, Murray was not able to begin his evening match until almost 22 hours local time. But he wasted no time in dismantling the Frenchman's game, typified by a brilliant rally in just the 4th point of the match. Murray broke Laudra's serve twice in the opening set to take it 6-2, but then fell 3-0 behind in the second after dropping his serve in the second game. Murray then took the next 5 games before closing out the set 6-4. Let's talk cinema. A brief ceremony and action-packed space film, Gravity, marked the beginning of 11 days of movie madness on the Venice Lido last night. 20 films, including 5 from the United States and 3 from Britain, are in competition for the Golden Lion Trophy that will be awarded at the end of the 70th edition of the world's oldest film festival on September 7. The festival got off to an explosive start with a premiere of Gravity, teaming George Clooney and Sandra Bullock as astronauts imperiled by a botched Russian missile shot. Ahead of the world premiere screening, the festival was officially declared open during a brief ceremony with organizers and jury members taking the stage. Well, that's about it for now on the Vox News. I'll be back with you shortly. Goodbye.